It is the week of weeks. I know everybody says that the Masters week is the greatest week in sports history. I know I cover the Super Bowl. I know I go to Radio Row. That's a great week also, but there's nothing like WrestleMania week. Everybody knows it. We know it. We love it. This next guy, you know him. We love him. You love him. Everybody loves him. It's BJ Cruz of The Ringer from The Ringer Wrestling Show. BJ, thank you so much for jumping on and previewing WrestleMania. I think this is our third year in a row doing this, so I'm very excited to keep the tradition going. How are you doing?
Fernando, it's always great to be back. I remember doing this show with you guys last year from my hotel in Philly,
Oh,
freezing my ass off.
yeah.
So I'm glad to be in the comfort of my own home. And like you said, right, the Masters just happened. You've covered the Super Bowl many years. This is WrestleMania is always like the Super Bowl, and the Masters had a baby. You know what I mean? That's what it's like for us as wrestling fans, because we're locked in. This is what we build to all year. And then all the casuals and everyone who, all the lapsed wrestling fans, they start to converge towards, and they start asking questions. So this is great. It's a great time.
The funniest part is that ever since they went on Netflix, I feel like they've gotten a huge bump.
Yeah.
And people actually watching, wanting to, they're more curious about it. Well, who's he? Who's that? Like, and it's become more mainstream. And again, we have to thank Roman Reigns. One's up
our tribal chief.
Roman said it today. He put out a video today. Did you see that video?
The one where he's working out?
Yeah, and he's like, okay, I'm a part-time wrestler. I'm a full-time cash cow. Like,
he's not wrong.
Like, I'm like, Roman, you're just amazing. Well, as soon as he drops that shoe line, by the way, I would be down.
I'm glad you brought this up, because when he drops that, it's going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
I have a wall of shoes behind me, which I'm very, very grateful for. But when that drops, I haven't camped for shoes in years. If there's a camping situation, I will be outside in my OTC sweater, OTC pants. I will be wearing an Ulafala. I will be out in line waiting for these things.
You have kids. Make the kids work. Put the kids out there.
True, you're right.
To camp out, then you show up and you come and get the shoes. Like,
that's right.
That's the best. I
mean, my daughter's 6. It's about time. You know what I mean?
And then you live in the Bay Area. It's expensive. Nobody lives anywhere for free. You have to pay rent somehow.
Yeah. It's about time. I'm with
it.
You
spoil them by taking them to the Magic Kingdom, to Disneyland all the time. So hey,
gotta put in some work. Pay me back.
Here. Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah. By the way, his kids are very, very, very young, so obviously that will not be happening.
Probably would not be allowed. Child services would definitely get involved, but I could have some sick OTC Roman Reigns Jordan gear, which I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and he's kind of the first one that's kind of branched out like that, and could be a part of a line like that.
And it would be fitting that the tribal chief would be the first one to take that voyage. I don't know if you watched Jey Uso on Sneaker Shopping, the episode that dropped yesterday.
He bought a bunch of shoes.
He did, and he also mentioned that he was the guy who got Roman kind of into the sneaker culture in this world. And credit to him, because there's a picture. If you look at Complex's Instagram, they were just doing like 5 takeaways from Jay's episode of Sneaker Shopping. And they're like, yeah, he was the one who got Roman into sneakers and kind of down into this rabbit hole. There's a picture of Roman wearing some god-awful kicks. It's a bad picture. It's with him and the Usos, and it's bad, bro. So Jay is he may be our future world heavyweight champion and the Yeet Meister himself, but he's also responsible for the OTC being the Jordan King that he is.
So I'm guessing it's on Complex Sneakers.
It's probably somewhere on there. It's one of their slideshows that they pumped out. So it's been.
I just see it. Jey Uso wants justice for Panda Dunks.
Yeah, see, there you go. Keep going. I think it's on that slideshow.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. There's a lot of good stuff. Man, that's I had never seen that before. Oh, let's see. Complex, the 41 best WrestleMania matches of all time. Wow.
Everyone's got rankings. See, this is what I'm talking about, though, Fernando. Like, no one really touches wrestling the amount that we have to watch it week in, week out. And then Mania week, everyone just comes around. And everyone hovers around the table. And like, what do we got here?
That's what I was telling Gilbert today on our show. He sends his regards, by the way. He just became a father.
Guy.
So he's
my god, congratulations, Gilbert.
So he's been busy. But he sends his regards and well wishes. he doesn't watch until right around the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And like everybody else does the same. My brother at least watches all the PLEs, and ever since Raw got on Netflix, he watches it. But now all of a sudden, like everybody's so into it, and I'm like, oh, all of a sudden everybody's so into this. But when I'm here busting my ass every Monday, every Friday watching this, like nobody's around me, nobody's watching it with me. But I'll give this credit by WWE. That Netflix idea was so smart because now you don't get anything spoiled when they're in Europe. You get like the show live on time. Like, and then when they had SmackDown and it wasn't live, I was like, damn it. I'm like, I'm not seeing any of this. Like, I'm like, now I need both of them on Netflix so that when this happens, we can just have them both on Netflix.
Dude, Raw in Europe on Netflix was some of the best experiences I've had watching Raw because it's lunchtime. It's literally Monday at noon or Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific.
No kids.
And it's just on. The kid, like literally my son, that's his nap time. He's asleep. My daughter's at school. So it's just, I can actually watch it. And it's very comparable to NFL Sundays.
Yeah.
Right. Where you're like, oh, I'll watch this for 2.5 hours. Yep. Well, NFL Sunday is more like a whole day, but you start at that time, you watch it, and then you have the rest of the day. You know what I mean? So
does your kid, when your kid's asleep, does he just go?
Oh, he's locked in his room, so I don't know. Yeah. He's definitely has. He's gonna be a.
I love those videos, by the way, where little kids are like the yeet comes on and they're like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
It's like a cult. It's nuts.
I mean, especially if you talk bad about Gunther should squash him or this or that. Like,
oh, we can get into that if you want to.
Yeah, let's start it off. We'll get into that match first. Let me just ask you right off the bat: is Jey Uso ready for a world title run?
Look, I'd be lying if I said that during this run there were a couple of times where I might have said no, but I've been a staunch Yeet a Mania supporter after he won, even before he won the Rumble, even during his should he be Intercontinental Champion run. You're like, put the singles title on this dude. So to answer your question, absolutely. And the evidence has been in the past 2 weeks specifically, right? It's the Yeets and the coming through the crowd wearing the bright colors. I feel like that's who I guess the Jey Uso detractors look at when they're like, this guy's a gimmick, right? He's to use, I think, some of Gunther's early verbiage, he's a clown, right? But the last 2 weeks, this dude's decked out in black. He's just ready. He's all business. And I credit Gunther for this too, because the way that Gunther's been performing, you see kind of cracks in his armor a little bit, right? Let's this week aside, the previous week, Gunther's decked out in the gray suit, the red tie, smirking. Jey comes out, after his brother had been bloodied up the week prior, and Jey is all business. You see Gunther terrified, right? And that's where, for me anyway, it was kind of a turning point in that I looked at Jey and I said, oh no, he's multifaceted, right? Like we look at this Yeet guy and we think right now that's all he is, because obviously he's pushing merch like you wouldn't believe. The crowd goes nuts like you wouldn't believe. But
Pat McAfee goes nuts.
Pat McAfee he's got a handshake with McAfee and Cole every Monday. But let's not forget, this was the dude who was, when he was taking on Roman for the world title, and this dude was acting his ass off.
Yeah.
He was low key from an acting perspective, carrying that feud, like the times that they faced off for the world title. So he's got it in his bag. And I think, like, I understand some of the criticism, right? I was one of those guys who said he probably needs to add a couple more moves to his repertoire. And, as of late, he's been trying, but we're never going to know unless we do it. And once they do it, I promise you, I'm assuming this match might kick off night one. When this dude wins the world title, we're gonna be, our arms are gonna be exhausted.
Yeah, from the yeeting. Yeah. I see. My criticism is a world champion should be somebody who can carry a match.
Okay,
and that's kind of where I have my doubts. Like last year, man, him and his brother, and I thought they were gonna have great chemistry.
That was rough.
Brothers.
It was a rough match.
But then I remembered, well, they have the same skill set and moves. So that's
exactly
kind of a rough part. Like that was kind of rough. And then I think Jay's grown a lot since he went solo, but now I'm wondering, can he care? Because like, I'll tell you one thing. Every time, and I know this is Roman Reigns, but every time like Roman could fight, like Roman fought LA Knight, it looked great. Roman fought Logan, it was great. Like every time anytime Seth Rollins when he was world champion, it looked great. Damian Priest, there was moments here and there where it looked really good. But I'm just wondering if it's going to look great with him overall. Like I thought Kofi really elevated his game when he was the world champion. He kind of elevated and Kofi's a great wrestler. It's just the persona just never had gotten there. When he got with the New Day, it kind of grew. Because at first they started him off as a dude that was Jamaican, and then
he lost his accent.
And then they're like, "Weren't you Jamaican?" Like, so like a bunch of stuff like that. So now my question is, could Jay be the one that carries in matches? And that's going to be really tough. Like, if he wins, WWE needs to be very careful about who they match him up with after he's done with Gunther. Like, they have to be very careful of getting him guys that, one, it's believable, two, that he can at least lead a little bit or can help him lead. Like former world, like him and AJ Styles would be good because AJ could carry him and AJ could help him out and help him learn how to do that. But that's kind of my number one criteria. The pushing the merch has always been like number 3. Skill set is number 2. No, 2 is your microphone. Are you able to do it on the mic? And then 3 is like your pushability when it comes to merch. Jay's okay on the mic. He's good. I just think that sometimes he kind of relies on his catchphrases, and I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, just let yourself be free. I thought Mondays was a lot better than what I've heard in the past. Last week was very good, but again, it's because you're attacking his family. That's when he gets really good. When you attack his family, that's when Jay gets really irritated and the best mic work comes out. I want to see when it's just you and him, there's no family. Like, I just want to see what that is. But I am going to agree with you. I love the way he came out in black and he's like, I'm just ready for this match. But again, I agree with you. We have to see it first. How are we going to see it if it doesn't happen? I agree with that. I'm going to be really interested to see what these next few months look like if he wins the champion. I think he's going to win it. But I'm just going to be really interested to see. And I think fans need to be a little bit careful with like, let's just say that they go to Backlash and the match isn't good. He retains, but it's not that good. Oh, he sucks. No, give it a little bit of chance. Give it an opportunity to see what he has. But again, I'm with you. I think he's going to win. I'm interested to see what that's going to look like, but can you carry a match? I think they need to help with veterans to help him be around veterans to see and to learn how to do that. And again, he's had the best teacher with Roman, but now it's his turn to kind of do that.
Well, I think that's a great point in that it's going to be very dependent on who they line up for him after, if he wins, right? And that's the thing, though. I think that there is a plethora of just options for him to look like money, right? Because I feel like him and Braun Breaker, when him and Braun had that Intercontinental title match a couple months ago where he won the title, great match. It was that was good. It encapsulated everything you want kind of in a wrestling match, especially he won the title on a Raw. You know what I mean? Like,
but you know what's crazy there? That made me think Braun is now ready to start.
I'm glad you said that because that's what I'm thinking too. Is just that the Intercontinental title picture, Dominik Mysterio is favored to win that match. If you're a psycho betting odds person like myself to look at betting odds for wrestling matches, he's the favorite. So let's just say that Braun is now he's free of the Intercontinental title. You could slide him up to that world title picture, right? And then him and Jay obviously have chemistry. They even have off-camera chemistry in that they work out together all the time, right? Like they're spotting each other for bench presses. And then
can you imagine being at an LA Fitness and randomly just see like Braun Breaker and Jey Uso?
I would stop working out. I'd just be watching.
But
they go barking and eating with these guys.
They go work out at a place where nobody's gonna know who the hell they are. Like
it's probably true, like, but also it looks like they're in LA Fitnesses. I know those walls. I know those wall colors. But so Braun's an option, right? Seth is going to be an option. Punk's going to be an option. I'm just running through the Raw roster, right? Where you're like AJ Styles, to your point. Logan Paul, if you wanted to.
Ooh, right? That one's a little dangerous.
It's dangerous, but I'm just saying, like, if there's guys you're looking at who could go in the ring, where you're like, Jay needs a good dance partner.
Yeah.
Right. This is not addressing, can they build a feud? Can they tell a story? If you're talking about the in-ring stuff, there's literally 5 guys off the top of my head who, if I thought, and you could run back Gunther probably once or twice, right, within that mix, I think he'd be fine and even thrive because, to your point from earlier, I feel like there have been times where Jey has relied on the yeeting a little too much, right? But also, I kind of understand it from the perspective of when you have something that's working and people are just losing their minds for shit. I'd go back to that well too.
Well, and the thing is that when they did it with Daniel Bryan, Daniel Bryan was like one of the
Next
best
level,
in
best
ring
ever. Yeah, he's a
workers.
goat.
Like, and here it's just like, that's why I think they're a little hesitant. Like, I remember I saw floated around. By the way, I told you at Raw on Netflix that I believe that Triple H and these guys, like, they tell people stuff to get the thoughts out there, and then they go through the Twitter and to Twitter stuff, and they're like, no, and like they see the and they kind of, that's how they do it. That's how they get their information out there. Because they were talking about Gunther just completely squashing Jey. And fans were just up in arms. Like, no, that's crap, this, that. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's not squashing him. But
No.
I definitely think that I agree with you again in that sense that we need to see what it is. They just need to be very careful with them for the next few months. And again, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself, they need to be very strategic with the Money in the Bank and not put it on somebody that's gonna automatically take it off of Jey so quickly, or take it off of Cody or Cena, whatever. We'll get into that match in a second. But like, you have to have somebody that needs to build up into that in a couple months, not right now. Somebody that can hold on to that briefcase till about maybe War Games or something down that line. Not yet, but they need to be very sure. Like, and I've heard this from Triple H before, that he does stuff and he's looking ahead a couple months. Well, you need to look ahead here, because you need to start thinking about, hey, Money in the Bank, who are we? Because everybody, like Braun Breaker there is the favorite. If they take away the IC title from him, well, you need to be careful, because Braun could literally cash it in at any time. And I think he'd be a great world heavyweight champion or a great WWE champion, but you need to hold the brakes off a little bit and let that breathe. Let Jey get some breath, and let whoever's the champion on the other side get a breath, and then maybe down the line. But I know I'm jumping the gun, but that's how my mind works. It's just ping pong, like, So, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that'll be that's going to be a fun match, which leads me into my next point. Man, I want Dom to win it so bad.
Look, look, I was talking to Cal and Brian from Worldwide today about this match specifically, and I said no matter who ends up winning this match, it would make sense, right? And it's by the way, it's also insane that this is the first ever fatal 4-way for the IC title at Mania. When they dropped that graphic last night on Raw, I had no idea. But look, if Braun retained, wouldn't be surprised. If Penta walked away with the title, sick. If Finn walked away with the title, cool. That's a way to reheat Finn. If Dom walks away with this title, dude,
and pins Finn Balor,
I'm going to lose my mind, because it will be. I was on record on the show today. I said this. It will be the loudest pop of night 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, sorry. Is this on night 2? Let me double check.
It's night 2. Night 2.
This is night 2. It may be the loudest pop of night 2.
Yeah.
Because, and which is weird to say, because he's also if you're
one of the
psycho betting odds favorites, he's the favorite right now. But I feel like he had, in terms of him winning, that has the biggest potential of just the crowd reaction and what you can do with that story moving forward, right? With Dom, with, like, you already have a built-in feud with, you could run him and Finn for a couple months. At some point, you run back Penta, right? So there's just, and Dom, honestly, he's deserved it for, I feel like, again, he was North American champion for a minute, but I don't know if you remember this from last year, but I want to say 2 Raws before Mania last year. It was in San Jose. This is why I remember it so distinctly. I was at the show, and this is when Gunther and Sammy were feuding for the IC title.
Yeah.
Right. So they're obviously doing their back and forth. The Judgment Day comes out to talk shit to Gunther, I believe. Yeah, it was Gunther. And they're talking about who's going to step up to him after he beats Sammy, right? And Dom stepped up and the crowd lost their mind. So, and this is, mind you, months of him just whenever he has the mic, he's getting booed out of the building in a good way. And that's where I remember asking him about it at Mania. And I was like, what was that moment for you like? And are you ready for this? And he was just, you could see the look in his face where it was just, I want it. You know what I mean? And the IC title, look, I think Braun's done a great job with it. They had his flash in the pan with it. Put this thing on Dom, bro. Put it on Dom, and let's just it's just reinvigorating this title, which as much as it is like a workman title, a workhorse title, I should say. Sometimes you just need to inject some life into it, and Dom would absolutely do that.
Well, and you're talking about workhorse, man. Dom's been like, he's had the most matches in WWE, like top 3 in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and everything changed when he kicked Edge in the nuts. Sorry, Cope.
Yeah,
or whatever.
No, it was Edge at the time. You're right.
I know. I'm just being an asshole. When he kicked him in the nuts, that changed everything for him. Mm-hmm. He goes to the Judgment Day. Now I think it's time for him to run the Judgment Day. I think it's time for him to kind of ascend into what he needs to. But I'll tell you one thing. I talked to him a year ago, right around when they came to San Diego for night 1 last year. They came to San Diego for the first show. The Rock came out and everything. So Dom's here. He's getting the shit booed out of him. He's flipping the crowd off. He's telling everybody all this stuff. And I'm like, for you to get booed in your hometown, 1, it just means that he's so over. Yes. And 2, it was just like, oh crap, like they love him. And I asked him off camera, I'm like, do you think it's time for you to get a run? I just asked him off camera. And he goes, bro, like the moment it happens, it's going to be huge. He's like, I don't know what you think. And I was like, bro, I think you're over already. Like, you're only 26 years old or 25 at the time. Like, you're over than a lot of the veterans on the roster. And I'm just being honest. Like, people love you. Like, they hate you, but they love to hate you. Like it doesn't matter if the pop is positive or negative. As long as you're getting a pop, that's all.
The reaction is that's all.
The Miz has said it for years. It doesn't matter if they boo you or they love you. As long as you get a pop, that's all that matters. And Dom gets booed. He can't even speak sometimes. Like, I love when he speaks Spanish and he's like, "Déjenme hablar." Like, I just start laughing. I'm like, dude, this is so great. But he told me when it happens, I want it to be historic. Dude, there's no other route here than like this is historic. Like, what you want to do with Dom though is in the next 3 years, you want him with a WWE championship. And here's where his ascension starts.
This is where you could start that, because I mean, I've had this conversation with a couple people where it's like, at some point he's going to be a world champion.
He's gotten so good at wrestling,
right?
Too. Like, it's improved.
Yeah.
He's taking bumps and he's like really selling the crap out of the bumps. Then on top of that, remember, people wanted him in NXT and people were pissed at Ray for bringing him into WWE right away and not having him down in NXT. And he really has built his own lane. Like, there's 2 lanes of WWE. Either you go the lane of indies and all this stuff, and then you make it to NXT, or your parent is like involved in it. But Dom kind of made that own lane, his own lane, where it's like, I don't have to go to NXT. I don't have to go to the indies. He kind of combined both lanes and said, I'm just going straight to WWE. And at the beginning, everybody was kind of like thrown off by it. But now you see it and you're like, crap, this kid is something else. And he's good on the mic. He's very good on the mic, which I'm surprised at.
Yeah.
But he's just good at everything. I just feel like it's time for him to be you're the mustache.
No, that too, incredible. But let me ask you this: I think he's better than Ray on the mic.
Ooh, on the mic, yeah.
And like, that may not be a hot take. It's but Ray plays the hits, right? He's like, this is what will get my reaction, and he's obviously had to be a babyface most of his career.
Yeah,
but Dom has. There's just the way that he controls the crowd.
At one point, they took the microphone away from Ray, and I didn't like that.
Yeah,
I thought Ray was kind of good with them. Like, I remember when I hope you remember this. I remember he was world champion, and he turns to JBL, and he had just beaten JBL at Judgment Day, and he goes, JBL, I don't. You say that I need to face all newcomers. he faced Great Khali, Kane, the May 19th Kane, faced Mark Henry. He's like, I don't see you taking on newcomers. And then JBL's like, what do you mean, for his United States Championship? And then he goes, you know who you're going to face? Bobby Lashley. And then Bobby Lashley comes out, beats him for the championship for the United States. Then later that night, he tells Ray, okay, we're going to fight one-on-one and I'll retire if I lose. And then he beats him. But like, Ray was good on the mic in the past. And then lately it's like, they kind of took it away from him in the last few years. Like, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that,
sure,
in a sense, like, we don't just like, I don't want to say stereotype, but like like the Mexican wrestlers, like, let Penta speak. Don't let him just rely on his Cero Miedo. Like, let him speak a little bit. Ray Phoenix, let him speak. Like, let some of these guys speak. Don't just let them hide behind not hide. Don't let them be behind the mask and just not get anything out.
Don't tap into that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I want to see them talk. I want to see them kind of, and I think that's the thing, is that Dom's not a luchador, so he can speak and he can do all this other stuff. But man, yeah, no, I agree with you. He's so good on the mic. Like, he knows how to control a crowd. He knows how to control other wrestlers. Like, he just knows how to do everything that he needs to do. And I've been very impressed with him. And at such a young age, he really is, like, that's why they put him with Liv. They're both super young. They're up and coming. Yep. That's why they put him with Rhea. Rhea was young and up and coming. Rhea's still really young too. But I just mean, they kind of put him with Liv, and they've thrived. And anything they've given him since he turned into the Judgment Day, he's thrived in. Like, when he fought with his dad at WrestleMania, and then he comes in with the
paddy wagon.
He was
cuffed. He had a mask. Oh, so
like,
good.
It was
one
so
of the best
good.
Mania entrances I've ever seen.
Yeah. And fans didn't know what to make of it at first, and then they're like, oh crap, it's Dom. Like, wow. So yeah, Dom is just, he's really elevated himself in the last few years.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it's he's cooled off a little bit, I'd say, within the last couple of weeks, couple of months. Yeah, I'd probably correlate this to around the time that JD got hurt. Obviously, hopefully he's recovering. Hopefully he's back in the ring soon.
Well, because they have him playing second fiddle to like Finn, Liv, and it's kind of
like fourth fiddle essentially, right? Because again, Finn, Liv, Raquel, right? But they're the tag champs, and then even Carlito's in there doing his his comic relief thing. So
he's funny.
It kind of just leaves Dom. Yeah, he's so goddamn funny. But Dom's kind of in this like weird middle space. But I think this would be an amazing way to reheat him.
Maybe this is why they're doing it, though. Maybe they're kind of cooling him off a little bit. Because I know you said the betting odds, but when I look on social media, I kind of see fans leaning more towards the Finn Balor. Everybody's kind of trying to go with the hot new toy of Penta. And I'm like, I just don't see Penta yet with it, even though Penta's been great. His wrestling's so good. Like, he's been really good in the ring, but I just, for some reason, feel like it's time to kind of reignite that Dominik Mysterio. Dom hasn't, and to your point, Dom hasn't even spoken like lately. Like, he hasn't really talked.
Yeah, he's done some backstage stuff with Liv and the.
But he hasn't done anything like in the ring. Right. So I agree with. I think this is how you jumpstart him again. You just have him win the IC championship, because again, we're not really making anything of like him and Finn going up against each other. Sort of like it has that. The buildup has just been a little weird with everything, but we haven't even touched that. Like, all they did was just kind of look at each other, and he's like, Dom's gonna be in it. Oh, the best, all that matters is that the Judgment Day is back in as the IC title and all that stuff. So I'm like, like, I can't wait for them to finally look at each other. Like, you're gonna Braun Breaker's gonna be down, Penta's gonna be down, it's just gonna be them two looking at each other. And that's gonna be interesting. By the way, I do want this to be clean. I don't want Liv or Raquel.
I don't want shenanigans. No
shenanigans. Carlito, like, let him win clean.
Yep.
That's all I want.
I 1,000% agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one?
I'll say this. I was looking at the bet. I have the betting odds pulled up. And the opening, you were talking about Penta. The opening odds had him as the favorite. He was minus 175. Dom is now minus 175 with Penta as the number 2 best odds. Braun Breaker actually is the 3rd best odds to retain. And Finn is a plus 600. So again, the odds have shifted pretty significantly, because originally Dom he had the third best odds to win this match, and now he's the favorite. So, I mean, I don't know. Handicapping wrestling is still in its infancy, but these are always just interesting. It's always interesting for me to look at when I'm kind of looking at the storylines too, and comparing it with like the online discourse and everything, how it all kind of coalesces. So I'm just letting you know though, if Dom wins, between all the yeeting I'm doing, I'm going to be drowning in chicken tenders.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh,
well, yeah,
go.
but then on night 2, just drowning in chicken tenders, grinding that shit up, pouring it in a cup, and just chugging it in honor of our new king, Dominik Mysterio.
You know what's funny? A friend of mine said that he saw him one time at a Raising Cane's out here, and in San Diego, and he's like, I didn't know if it was him because he had his hair in a hat, and then but then I saw the mustache, and I'm like, wow, that's Dominik. And he's like, I think he said he was in a Ferrari. He's like, yeah, that's Dominik Mysterio. He's like, wow,
that sounds about right.
So yeah. So I was like, wow. So yeah, he really is into chicken. He told me too. He's like, I'm not he's like, when you go to a steakhouse, what do you eat? I'm like, a steak, asparagus, this, that. He's like, yeah, I don't eat any of that shit. I was like, really? He's like, no. He's chicken. Fine.
It's real. Again, we've interviewed him a couple of times. We've interviewed we interviewed Liv pretty recently, a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago now. It's just, like, everyone doubles down on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bit.
Well, Damien and Finn told me a year ago, like, he's a child. He's a child.
Absolutely. He eats like a kid. And he has a partnership with Wingstop now. Like, this dude's living the life.
Well, my question is, like, how do you stay so thin? Like, I try and eat healthy as hell, and like, I'll lose a couple pounds, but I'm like, that dude is just maybe.
Well, he's also super young, like you had mentioned. He's also he works the most out of anyone in WWE. Yeah. This man's working house shows.
You know what's funny? I was telling a buddy of mine, I was like, I feel like just wrestling, and he's like, what? Like, you want to get into WWE? I was like, no. I was like, I just want to wrestle to lose weight. Like, I always remember in that Office episode.
Yo, I don't know. Cardio is crazy.
Yeah, you remember in the Office episode? I don't know if you remember. Robert California was like, I can either go to the gym and run on the treadmill for 4 times a week, or I do this once a month, and I avoid all that, and I just start laughing. I'm like, that's so good. So, yeah, that's kind of my my theory in that. But, all right, let us jump over now. This is a match that I thought would be a lot better constructed. I'm not very happy with the way it's kind of gone. I misspelled Iyo's name. I apologize, Iyo.
No, you're good.
She's always been very nice to me, and she's always been great. I kind of wanted. I'll be honest. I do like. It's so funny the way they'll start like bantering back and forth, and then they shove her out of the way. And she starts screaming stuff in Japanese, and then she'll do. But that was funny once, maybe twice. Like, now they're doing it every week, and I'm kind of like, what have you thought of the build up to this?
So, first of all, that's why I think she's retaining, because the disrespect has been insane.
Yeah.
Like, I get you mush her, like you said, you mush her a couple of times in the face, emotions pour over. Contract signings never go as contract signings go in professional wrestling. I get it, right? But the amount that she's been dismissed, where to the point where we're like, oh, is Bianca or Rhea gonna win? That's just wrestling storytelling 101, where you're like, well, it's going to be the underdog in this triple threat that's going to pull it out, and like, she should retain. You know what I mean? Because again, Iyo Sky is one of the best professional wrestlers in the entire world, and until she had that match with Rhea on Raw where she won the title, I really was trying to figure out how she would fit into the card, because there was a world where she does not appear on this card at all.
I thought it was going to be Rhea versus Bianca at WrestleMania.
1,000%, as did I. And that's where it was going. That's the match I think a lot of us wanted to see, right? With Rhea and Bianca. That's like kind of a dream match, if you will. Yeah. So, but once Iyo won that match and kind of threw that was a wrench thrown in those.
I was very surprised she won that match.
Oh, it was the swerve of all swerves up until that point, right? So, I mean, look, Bianca and Rhea have plenty of world championships ahead of them, you know, in the near future, probably. I mean, they could take this off of her at Backlash as soon as, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many more opportunities, but I think this match is actually going to be very, very good.
I think so too.
because of the talent that's involved. It's top level talent, right? These are just three of the best women's wrestlers in the entire world. So there's just I feel like there's no way they can be bad. That being said, I think to answer your question about has the storytelling been effective, initially when Rhea signed her name on that contract where she just wrote it in, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not how contracts work, right? I've seen plenty of professional wrestling contract signings, and I understand funky things happen. I also know if there's a contract in front of me, I can't just write my name on it and be included in shit, right? That's just not how legally.
I mean, I'll start doing that shit. I'll just start going to.
I'd own 9 houses. You know what I mean? I just go to house signings and just write my name on it. But I think so. I will say the most disappointing part of this was probably this past Monday, where neither of them were on the show.
Oh, did Rhea break her nose? That's my question, though.
I mean, if so, I feel like you still throw her.
Or are they waiting it for SmackDown? Like, are they going to do something on SmackDown? Because it's 3 hours. Because Cena's appearing on SmackDown, but I'm like, they're all Raw people, though.
He is, and that's the thing is just if this is the Raw champion technically, right? And I get it. You make these names and these titles so that you can kind of go between both shows, and it's not a huge deal. But again, the fact that none of the three of them were on Raw this past
Iyo just cut a promo.
They all cut these backstage promos and these video packages, which was fine. But again, like on SmackDown on Friday, to your point, there's probably gonna be some sort of Tiffany Charlotte shenanigans, like which I'm sure we'll get to that in a second. But this was a I feel like a key point for Iyo, Bianca, and Rhea to really solidify what we were thinking about this match. And again, I'm still probably on the more positive side about it, but it was disappointing to see how they packaged the last, the go home show of Raw and how they're building their most important women's championship.
I thought it was very underwhelming that neither, and you can't blame Roman, CM Punk, and Seth. Like, there's no way to blame it. You just didn't put it in there. You thought that. What happened to the days where it was like when it was John Cena, Triple H, and Randy Orton that were going to face each other at WrestleMania? Each week they would make one of them tag team with the other, and then the other guy would like stuff like that leading up to Mania to really bring some heat. Nothing like you're going to be the special guest referee. They had one, but like, I don't know. I've just like sometimes you do need to go into the past to like help yourself out in the present. And I feel like we barely have, like, Jay's barely wrestled. Gunter's only had in squash matches. Like, I'm kind of like, there hasn't been a lot of wrestling lately in WWE, or if it has, it's been like other guys. I don't know. The build up to this one, I've just been a little disappointed in. Like, at first it was kind of cool when Iyo won it, and then Bianca chose the winner of this, and then Rhea, they threw her in. I'm kind of like, I still think that they're teasing in the future. We are going to get Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. Like,
I think we're going to get that plenty of times over the next
so they're like, we'll give you guys, we'll hold it off. And again, Iyo is only 25 years old, so she's going to be here for a long time coming. If I was her, though, by the way, and I'm not trying to be, I'm just saying, she should go to the Canelo Alvarez school of like marketing, and she should learn how to at least like do a couple of things in English, because man, the marketing just changes once you do that. Like, look at Canelo's now selling out, and not selling out like when he boxes. I'm talking about selling out like merch and all this stuff. Now that he's switched over and he's spoken, like he speaks English, he curses in English really well. That helps whenever you do stuff like that.
Well, the thing about professional wrestling too is there's an easy crutch to fix that, and just get a manager. You know what I mean? And like, I get she has Dakota, on her side. Asuka's out right now. Kairi Sane is out right now, but there's an easy fix for that. And but I will say this though, I do like her and Shinsuke have done this a couple of times where they've cut promos, they've cut those video packages, and there's subtitles at the bottom. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. But to your point of if they want to get to kind of that last tier and that last level, there is a bit of that, right? Where you just kind of need to cut a promo, tell your opponent they're a piece of shit. And then, kind of go from there.
You know who I thought would have been a good manager for her, but they just released her, was the UFC. She was like the UFC, like, oh my God, what's her name? She just got released like a couple of months ago, and she didn't see it coming.
Was that Elektra Lopez?
What's her in-ring name?
I think that was her. Hang on.
What was her name?
Elektra Lopez? No, wait, that was Legado
no.
Fantasma girl.
No, what's her name? She's she at first she came in with Mandy and
her real name's Daria. Oh
yeah,
my God.
Daria, but I can't remember what
Sonya Deville.
Sorry. Sonya Deville, thank you. I thought Sonya Deville would have been a good manager for her, like a good talk. Like, I mean,
I liked PFC, by the way. Can I just be on record? I
really?
enjoyed Pure Fusion Collective. I thought
I did too. I thought it was good. I was surprised that she got like. I was like, isn't there other people?
Well, her contract just ran out, right? And they just didn't renew.
They were just like, hey, we're not going to renew. I think she said she was at her wife's daughter's volleyball game or something to that effect.
She just found out.
Yeah, they were like, hey, we're just not going to renew. And she's like, really? Okay, like.
It's so bizarre too. I mean, I remember I interviewed her at the
she's really nice.
Netflix debut. Unbelievable, just charisma through the roof. You're right. She would have been a great manager, just period. I mean,
when she was GM, I thought she was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed her work then.
She's good on the mic, and it's hard, man. Nowadays, it's so hard to find the perfect package of wrestler where they can do on the mic. Like I only saw the first 3 episodes of the Undertaker show. That
LFG.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, some of these guys, like, and Undertaker and them were kind of praising some of their promos, and I was kind of like, it looked really off to me. But I mean, I guess I'm going based off of like I've seen Cena, I've seen all these other guys, but I'm like, okay, I need to temper my expectations. So obviously, let's jump to this Tiffy time coming to an end. I'm gonna be honest. Charlotte's done this before, where Charlotte gets irritated that the crowd's not behind her. She'll start talking crap. And then I thought Tiffany defended herself really well, but it was a low blow. But then Charlotte trying to pull this Conor McGregor crap where your wife is in me DMs. Like, I didn't appreciate that. I thought it was a really like distasteful like showing by Charlotte. And I don't think Tiffany should lose this championship. It's only been 100 days. BJ, I was here in San Diego and she was facing Bayley. Bayley right now is a babyface, right?
Yep.
Bayley was getting booed by the San Diego crowd because everybody wanted it was Tiffy time. She had just won the championship a week earlier in Portland. WWE, why can't we have just waited a week and done it here in San Diego? But I digress. But the crowd was just electric for Tiffany in San Diego. And I'm like, okay, let's continue this. When Charlotte won the Royal Rumble, I'm like, this is bad. And I'm a little bit worried that Rick is in Triple H's ear and he's like, my daughter needs to break this championship. Like, it should be my daughter. I feel
so maybe a couple weeks ago, especially since Charlotte won the Rumble, I might have agreed with you more. I just feel like I think the response that Tiffany's had over the last couple of weeks and the way that she's almost legitimized herself even more in front of a legend like Charlotte Flair, I think there's a good chance she could retain.
She should.
She should, because she's the future of the entire division, right?
What is she, 23, 24?
She's like 25. In any case, super young, but she just has this charisma that honestly right now, as great as Charlotte is, and she has been, there's just this connection that she doesn't have with the audience that Tiffany does right now, right? So, and I think that's what's great about Tiffany right now is that she could easily go between being a heel, being a face. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's I think the sweet spot you want to be in, right? She's almost, this might be sacrilege to say, she's in that CM Punk area where it's like, it doesn't matter. If CM Punk could talk shit about somebody, he could talk about shit about your favorite wrestler, you'd still cheer for him, right? That's where I feel like Tiffany has gotten in the last couple of weeks, especially because that side-by-side promo that they had, I could not, this is just a me thing, and I know everyone, there was a lot of opinions on how people felt about this, but I hated that. I couldn't stand it. The side-by-side promo
Oh yeah,
of Tiffany and Charlotte. It just where Charlotte just kept cutting her off and basically, claiming her territory, right? And just kind of shitting all over Tiffany. And again, Tiffany's bounced back since then, but that made me cringe to the point where we're just like that from a wrestling perspective, that just wasn't an effective back and forth. That wasn't an effective promo. Now, did it garner heat and maybe add on to where we are now? Absolutely. But I do think the way that Tiffany, whether you mentioned it earlier, kind of diving in, there was those reports that they went off the rails, right? With their promo a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. Tiffany bringing up her divorces and everything else, but
0 for 3.
Tiffany held her own.
I know.
And it was a moment where you're like, oh, you're just not going to take this line because other talent might have just taken it laying down. Yeah. I don't know that for a fact, but the fact that Tiffany had the gall to say, no. Like if you're going to throw personal shots at me, I got some in the chamber, exactly. And it was nice to see.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think Tiffany should retain, like you said, she's the future. I just think we're at this point now where, no, I don't want to be messed up and say what I really think, but I just think that Charlotte's always wanted to be a babyface, and it's like, dude, you're not though. Like, you're the daughter of Ric Flair. Like, you're not like. There's always been a disconnect with her and the mic, and I remember like she had problems. That's why when it was her and Becky, she had problems. Like Becky at one point just snapped and got so good on the mic, and she would just chop her up, and she's like, remember, Charlotte, like you've never really had a connection with these fans. Your dad had a connection, so they lived through you or through their father, through you or whatever. And I'm like, damn, like I just remember she was chopping her up left and right, and Charlotte just had no answer for her.
Well, I think a lot of that too, and this may be dissecting Charlotte Flair a little bit too deep, but again, to your point, again, last name is Flair, fine, right? Like you can't avoid that. Or obviously it's not a real last name, but that is her legitimate father.
Yeah.
But when you use the same or a very similar catchphrase, right? When you're wooing all over the place, when your finisher is a variation of one of the most iconic finishers and submission moves in the entire wrestling industry, like I'm sorry,
you do the chop, you
do chops, song. The figure 8, I'm sorry, it's a figure 4 where you bridge. Yeah. Like I don't know if that's actually adding leverage or pain. I do know the figure 4 hurts like shit because I was trapped in it in middle school as a child, right? But
I remember that. Like,
but I feel for Charlotte. There are times where I feel for Charlotte because I do think that. Let's get this out of the way. I think she's an incredible wrestler. I think she's
great.
She's going to go down when we discuss like who's the best women's wrestler of all time. She will 1,000% be in that conversation. She's already on the Mount Rushmore.
She's gonna be more Kareem though. No, not more Kareem. She's gonna be more Bill Russell. Like she's gonna have a bunch of championships, but people are gonna look at Becky, right? Like she's always
in
gonna
a more
have the most.
Way. Yeah, because of kind of the uphill battle that she has with all of these things. So I do feel bad about that. But and look, this may be a booking thing. This may be a conversation that's being had behind the scenes, a creative decision, right? Where you're like maybe do we deviate from this? Like, is it too late to go away from I'm a Flair? Maybe
way too.
But I mean, look, the point is she can generate heat. She can go in the ring. And if you have at least those two foundational pieces, like WWE and any wrestling company will lean back on you, and rightfully so. So she's in a shitty position. I'll say that, but I also think, again, at the time that she went out, just some other people kind of rose through the ranks, like Tiffany.
And they kind of like the problem was I didn't think she should have won the Royal Rumble right away. Yeah. I thought they should have given it to somebody else and kind of let somebody else. Like again, if you would have done Tiffany versus Liv, I think that would have done. The only problem is you run like right there, like you give fans a real like you would have gotten. Let's go live Tiffy time. Like you would have gotten half of the stadium going for one. That
which is what you
perfect.
kind of wanted.
Yeah. Here you're really gonna get almost the whole stadium. Tiffy time, Tiffy time, Tiffy time, Tiffy. That if Charlotte wins, there's gonna be a lot of boos that you need to prepare for if you're really gonna say, okay, Tiffy time needs to come to an end, which I don't think it's gonna happen. So you run the risk.
I will say that Triple H and company, in as evidenced by kind of how they reacted to last year's Mania build, right, with Cody, and potentially The Rock replacing him in that title match against Roman. They do make adjustments on the fly, and again, it's small sample size. So you're right. At the end of when are they going? They're going night one. They're going night one. Right. We all may be booing Charlotte, but ultimately also may be fine if that means, because you got to look at this holistically too, right? Because if Charlotte Flair taking the title away from Tiffany, which again she'll probably get back at some point, means that we get the Jey Uso moment
or 14, like
right. I think it's worth it, kind of like in the whole grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
with you though. Tiffany she's the future of this division. Her and Roxanne Perez, who just had their match on Friday. They're the future of this thing.
I'm not happy. I thought it was going to be Roxanne versus Bayley. So I was a little disappointed by.
I thought they were going to build to that too.
By the way, that was my pick for our Compas picks. The Iron Woman of the Royal Rumble. I said Roxanne Perez. I'm a huge Roxanne guy. I love Roxanne.
She's amazing.
I interviewed her at WrestleMania in LA, and she was like obviously in NXT and everything. I think she had just lost the NXT Women's Championship, because she didn't have it with her. Oh no, she did have it with her, and the nicest person. I asked her about the Booker T stuff, going to his camp,
his school,
doing all that stuff, and we had such a great conversation that WWE had to come by and they're like, "Hey, like we need her to move on." I'm like, that was the only person that I really took a long time to talk to, just because she was so great that I'm like, we were just having a lot of fun chatting and everything. I was like, oops, I'm so sorry.
She's so dope and like legitimately short. Like, like I'm a short person, and I remember when we were interviewing her, like Brian H. Waters was interviewing her. I remember I was holding the camera for him, and I was looking down, and I was like, I never look down at anybody. You know what I mean? This is nuts. But she's so talented in the ring, and she can absolutely go where it's a bummer she's not on this Mania, but she's going to be on so many movies.
Oh yeah, she's too talented.
It's not the end of the road. Yeah.
Let us move on now to look for this match, for that triple threat match. I think Seth Rollins is. I think, you know what's funny? Everybody's like, well, this is the first time that Roman's not in a title match. This is a title match. I think this match is for the services of Paul Heyman. Everything points to me that Paul Heyman is leaving with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins needs a jump start, and I get it. He was a champion a year ago at this point, but it kind of feels like he needs something to kind of get him going again. And I feel like Paul Heyman joining him would be something huge for him. Mm-hmm. This is another thing that he just steals from Roman Reigns. And they just further, because we all know what we're headed for. We're headed for a Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins one-on-one match one more time, I think.
I can't wait.
And I feel like this would solidify, like, you stole the Shield from me. You stole my championship. And now you took my wise man. Like, I am coming for you. So I feel like, and I get it, CM Punk, this is his first, but CM Punk is going to get, hey, this is your first main event of WrestleMania. Boom. Seth is going to get the wise man, and I don't know what Roman's going to, I think Roman's going to be the one that ends up getting screwed out of all this, because he's not really going to get anything out of it. But at the same time, Roman, I think this is going to be a great match. I think you're just going to get fireworks, but I kind of feel like Seth is going to walk out with Paul Heyman for some reason.
I think that's where we're headed to. And that's the thing too about this Triple H era is, you know, you could make the argument that sometimes they're too predictable with their storytelling, but also they do storytelling that makes sense. And that at the end of the day is, I feel like as wrestling fans, what we're looking for almost, right? Like, so if he does, if it does end up being Heyman and Seth leaving together at the end of night one, I mean, I don't see how that doesn't work. You have one of the best, most influential talkers of all time joining someone who I consider he let me preface this with Seth is my favorite wrestler, current and modern wrestler overall. So like I Shawn Michaels is my favorite of all time. I hold Seth in
see
that
the similarities.
kind of in that same light, right? Where it's just like he's kind of the total package.
He doesn't need a championship to solidify who he is.
Doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
but Paul Heyman being next to him, that means something. To your point from earlier, it's not necessarily for a title, but Heyman's status always means something, right? Being a Paul Heyman guy has always meant something. So, you know, Punk's been a Paul Heyman guy, obviously one of the biggest stars of all time. Roman's a Paul Heyman guy, one of the biggest superstars of all time. Seth, as you know, he always talks about how, you know, he's a workhorse. He's been one of these guys who's been touting WWE for 10 plus years, right? Ever since he joined the company. And for whatever reason, he's never really achieved that like mainstream success, I would say. Like if we did this earlier on Worldwide, where it was like, I was like, hey, power rank these three guys, right? And not necessarily 1, 2, 3, but like 1A, 1B, 1C. Roman, at the end of it was like Roman was 1A, Punk was 1B, Seth was 1C. And I was like, sure, I understand that. But at some point, it's got to be wrong that Seth is considered kind of like the third fiddle in this, because my guy can wrestle his ass off. Yeah. Has one of the best complete packages from a wrestling standpoint, can go on the mic. Like he can keep up with CM Punk, who's one of the best ever, right? I think Seth destroys maybe a strong word. He was better than Roman on the mic on Monday and is consistently better than Roman, I feel like. And then in terms of presence, Seth has that just as much as those other two guys. But like, for whatever reason, we don't look at him in that same light. So do we need a Paul Heyman joining him to finally take this dude as seriously as he needs to be taken? Maybe.
Well,
and then, if that's the end result of night one, sign me up.
So did you hear? So obviously, I just feel like there's something in it for everybody, obviously, except for Roman. But I just feel like he would benefit Seth. Well, first off, he needs to stop wearing all that goofy ass shit he wears, like all the like literally, like I've heard all the things.
You didn't like his King Troyified Shield outfit last night?
You know what I thought that was more of, though?
Hit me.
Who else wears something like that?
Rock. Yeah.
Today, I don't know if you heard this. He was on with Casey Hayward. No, sorry, Cam Hayward of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was asked about joining The Rock. Listen to what he had to say.
About you. Could you sell your soul and join Rock and Cena after this WrestleMania?
I mean, look, my soul's always for sale, man. I've been a guy in my career. I've gone through a lot of ups and downs. But look, if I look at the situation and it seems to me that the best course of action for the company as a whole is to join with people that maybe the audience doesn't want me to join with, I will make the decision based on how I feel is the best direction for the company.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. So I floated this out on our regular show a little while ago. I said, do you really want this this thing to really take over The Rock and people take it seriously? So we'll get into Cena and Cody, but let's just say Stone Cold comes out, all this stuff, like we basically recreate last year, except for this year, you have Cody, Seth is standing behind Cody with a chair. And you just see The Rock go like this, and he hits Cody with a chair, or screws Cody, and he joins that stable. Oh, Then the next night, Jey comes out with this one kind of threw them off for a loop. Like Jey comes out with the championship and everybody's eating, everybody's excited. And The Rock comes out and says, "Hey, you have not been a part of the family. You have not done anything for us lately. You've been all about yourself. You have to remember, I'm the boss. I'm the mother effer that runs this shit. You have a championship match tonight against Seth Rollins." And it all just like comes like Seth beats him and they just garner. I know it's a lot. Like it's a lot of crap, but it's like that's how you garner the most heat. Like you have Cena with the one championship, you have Seth with the other, and The Rock has his championship, and all three of them are just standing there with their championships, and it's like, oh, like the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania would be incredible. I know it's crazy. I know I'm like speaking like way too crazy, but like I was just thinking about that. I'm like, shit, can you imagine if, because I'm one of those thinkers that like I take it to the next level and I'm like, oh, I'll just think of it. And I started thinking about this. I'm like, damn, can you imagine if they just go full blown, like The Rock is the owner of this place. He is the guy. He is the this. He is the that. And they just take it all and just wreck it down. I know I kind of got you speechless a little bit. And I think it's because I went too crazy. But I just...
No. First of all, I think I'm just baffled that Cam Hayward got Seth Rollins on his podcast before either of us. But
I mean, I am not surprised. Oh, they were talking at Radio Row, so
you're right.
I think that was something coming.
I mean, honestly,
he doesn't need it, but still,
he doesn't. But again, if this was a fresh coat of paint on Seth, where it's just another angle for him to, again, he's right. He's proven that he will sell his soul. He sold his soul to the Authority all those years ago to betray the Shield, right? So it's not out of the realm.
And remember, on Monday he said, "What's best for business." Cena said
he dropped
what's
it.
Best for business.
Yeah. So
a couple of months ago,
there's been a couple of teases, and look, Seth has been a great babyface over the last couple, 2+ years. That's happened organically, by the way, right? Because he was packaged as a heel. He's supposed to be a heel. The crowd just kept singing his goddamn song, right? Whoa. And he became singing done. So I wouldn't hate it, honestly, if he ends up with
just
the
take
Rock,
away the Jey Uso. Like I know that Jey Uso stuff is way too crazy, so take away that. But like I could totally see where they kind of run it back with the same scenario as last year, but this year Seth just throws it all out for a loop, and because he was the game changer, remember? Like he was the one that Roman looked at him and he was gonna like he could have speared Cody and that's it. Instead, he hit him with the chair, and that changed everything. So this year, again, Seth could be the deciding factor that switches their allegiance, and he ends up going with them because that's kind of a thing. Obviously, I'd like a young guy to go with The Rock and Cena just to like learn from.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's Seth, it turns everything crazy.
Yeah.
So, again, I know it's nuts, but it's just it like the line. Like I'm just trying to connect the dots with the best for business. Like Cena said that at the Royal Rumble. Then now Seth says it the Monday before WrestleMania. So now I'm really wondering what this is like. I'm telling you, like it could all unravel all week this weekend. Unravel in a good way. Like everything could really go crazy this weekend. And again, if that glass breaks, regardless,
oh my god,
where
Vegas is not ready for what happens if the glass breaks.
I just hope
on Sunday. Yeah. Well,
but
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, so I know I went a little crazy again with it, but like it would just be incredible to see what would happen if these guys like really go all out and they decide, hey, Seth is the next guy to join The Rock. Rock comes out because that's another thing. We don't know why Cena, and we'll jump into. Well, I guess let's. I mean, because Roman's gonna take a leave of absence. We all know that.
Yeah,
I'm sure CM Punk is gonna take a little bit of a leave,
a little break. Yeah.
So Seth Rollins just seems like the ideal. Seth Rollins is there every day. It just seems like Seth Rollins is the guy to kind of win this and has more writing on this than the other two. I mean, Roman loses, and hey, next by SummerSlam, everybody's like, oh, hey, Roman's back. Yay, let's go. Like he's gonna fight. CM Punk, same thing. So now when we go to this, is John Cena destined? Look, And the reason why I ask it is this. The reason why I'm asking it this way is because of this. If he wins it at Money in the Bank, Backlash, even SummerSlam or anywhere else, it doesn't have the meaning that it would have if it's in Vegas at WrestleMania. Like if it's at Mania, it just has a different feel to it because it is the granddaddy, like the greatest show, this, that. Like it just feels like if it's not at Mania, it's like, well, it's not destined to really happen because if you go, and again, I give Cena a lot of credit. He could have just gone easy in these next few months and said, hey, thank you, kiss babies, say goodbye, and then bow out. Instead, he's like, no, I want to challenge myself. I'm going to go heel, and I'm going to see what I can do with it. Now, my brother's the biggest one that's been frustrated with this. He's been really frustrated leading up to this WrestleMania. He doesn't like the angle that Cena's taken as a heel. He likes special moments from it where he's basically like, you guys always like you guys have always said I bury talent, I bury this, and I
bury mediocrity.
Yeah, exactly. He's like those moments, but there's other moments where he's like, dude, like again, The Rock hasn't come out to explain why Cena joined The Rock. There hasn't been an explanation of why he did it. Like, and that's what makes me think that we're headed for, like, everybody thinks that by SummerSlam, Cena's going to be back to a good guy. I don't think so. I think we're going to get this for a while because we still haven't gotten a big explanation on what happened. Why?
I don't think so. I don't think so either. I also think he's winning the title. I mean,
think so too.
Because I think this not only
if he takes it all the way to December and he really does retire it, that would be, because I love that
also
line.
Be incredible.
He's like, I'm gonna retire it so that all you guys can just buy. All you guys can just make a new one up. That's not gonna mean anything like this one. And I love what he told Cody. By the way, you can go over to Fanatics and buy a championship like the rest of these.
Yeah.
That was such a good line.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that he has to beat Cody. I think this, there's been some discourse about Cody's, title run, and while I disagreed with it. Most of it, I do think the right decision here would be putting the title on Cena because of his character development, right? He's a full-on heel now.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking a little bit more long-term, this will just make the Cena get back that much stronger, right? We're like, I lost it at Mania, right? Like that story, if you attach some sort of story to Cody, that's the most effective version of his character, right? And you could even like look at Drew McIntyre, right? He's a guy who kind of always references last year's Mania as to why he wants to kick the shit out of Damian Priest or why he has beef with CM Punk, right? Yep. And Mania is the biggest stage of them all, like you said. So if Cody Rhodes loses to one of his heroes on the biggest stage of them all and is able to get the title back months later, that's just going to reinvigorate kind of the Cody hype that was around him at this time last year. So
you beat Roman and you beat Cena, two of the biggest superstars to ever be in WWE.
Exactly. So, and look, people win and lose championships all the time. It's just kind of about the timing and the storyline of it. If you can get us roped in, again, Cena's going for 17. That means he's lost the title 16 other times.
Yeah.
And
Rick's going to be there.
Right. So, and they've lost titles many, many times, but again, it's all about the win, right? It's all about when you get that get back. And when Cody gets that get back against Cena, whether it is at SummerSlam, maybe too short, like you said, whether it's a Clash of the Castle, it kind of in the fall, whether it's at Cena's last pay-per-view in December, that's just going to strengthen the lore and the legend of Cody, right? And basically complete that passing of the torch, which is, Cody's talked ad nauseum about how he wants the Cena schedule, right? He wants to be that guy. And this is how you do it, right? Like Cena had to lose the title a couple of times for him to be the John Cena that we all think about in that light. Yeah. So what better way to do it than to lose the title to him at WrestleMania 41 and then get it back later?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I feel like we're at this point now where Cena, I mean, this is basically a thank you for everything that you've done, man. Cena, and I don't think he gets enough credit for one big thing. Everybody abandoned WWE, and not in a bad way. The Rock hit it big. Stone Cold had the neck and issues, Brock Lesnar dips, Goldberg dips, like everybody dipped out. I know Triple H but they were wondering, like, when is there going to be a next big star? Like, everybody thought The Rock was going to be here for 10 years. He isn't. Stone Cold leaves, and they're kind of like, well, who's the next star? And Cena, just because of the rapping and everything, kind of starts taking off, and then he becomes a doctor of thugonomics. Then he becomes John Cena, the everybody thought he had joined them, like that he was a military guy, this, that, like he becomes this like big guy that like hustle, loyalty, and respect. Like, I'm gonna do it my way, this, that, like he pushed Vince McMahon out of the way from trying to screw CM Punk at Money in the Bank. Like, he's just been that guy that's like he turned the corner for WWE. Yeah, WWE's at where it's at today
afloat.
Yeah, exactly. And he made matches, and I get it. People said you can't wrestle, but in actuality, Cena told a story in and out of the ring. Again, I really think, and I'm just gonna be honest, the first 2 times that him and Cody were on the mic, I thought they protected Cody a little bit too much, and I thought, just let him go. Let's see what he has. The second time, there was 1 or 2 lines that I thought Cody kind of like, it was fed to them, like the you're the Rock's bitch, like that to me felt like a line that was fed to him. I was like, just let Cody be natural, like let him just go out there and say whatever he thinks, because
Cody's so good on the mic. You just, like, I know, to control him in any way is weird. The
problem is that Cena's just too, like, I remember when Cena like roughed up Roman a couple years ago when Roman was still the big dog. I still remember before their match at SummerSlam when Cena returned at Money in the Bank. There was a couple times that he got Roman, even as a tribal chief, he kind of hit him as well. And Cena's just so good on the mic that it's hard to really like go to toe to toe. It takes a special kind of person. But again, these next few months, if Cena does have the championship, don't backlash, yes, with Cody, but step away from Cody for a little bit. I want CM Punk. I want Randy Orton. I need another tribal chief and John Cena match. And then give me anything else after that. Give me a Braun Breaker rivalry. Give me maybe give me a Dominik Mysterio. That'd be fun. Like him and Dom, like that'd be a little bit of fun. Like, give me a little bit of fun. He's gonna, well, if it comes down to San Diego, if they do come here for War Games, it'd be great to have Cena down here in San Diego one last time. But have fun with it. Like, even ask him to wrestle on Monday Night Raw. Like, have him do different, like have him do stuff to where, hey, dude, you're not like these other guys that you're leaving Raw and then you go to AEW, or you're leaving WWE and then you go to AEW and wrestle,
right?
Or other stuff. Like, this is it. You're never gonna lace up those boots again, according to them. I know Shawn Michaels came back and did some show in Saudi, and it was one of the worst matches I've ever seen. But like, this is it. Go all out. Wrestle on Monday Night Raw. Wrestle on SmackDown. Give small cities a chance to go see you. Do house shows. Like, just give it one more go, because I know for a fact we're not going to see Cena in 2026 at all. Like, I know that for a fact.
This is the tour.
We're not going to see him even wrestle, like not wrestling, even just talking. We're not going to see Cena for a while, I think, after this.
I agree.
So just go all out. Do everything you need to do. Get it out of your system, because, dude, it's over come December. Like, unless you're going to be a full-blown heel and say, hey, you know what? That when I said I was going to retire, screw that shit. I'm staying here. Like, I don't see him doing that. I would love one more Rock and Cena, but not a match. Just like one, like them kind of going at it on the mic. But I really think that Cena needs to go all out. And I get everybody's kind of shitting on him, but he was filming movies, wrapping up some stuff that he needed to do. I think after Mania, he's going to go full blown and like be there, be at every PLE.
I hope so.
Do everything. But I just hope Cena really, and I know Cena is a great, I mean, I met him twice, nicest guy you'll ever meet. He gives you the time of day. And I just hope he really goes full throttle at this. And then I think it'd be good for Cody to go back to chasing for a little bit. Again,
absolutely.
I think this could be a huge year for Cody. If Cody's able to, well, these last 2 years are going to be huge. If Cody could take the belt off of Cena, and then Cody gets his match with The Rock, and then maybe another Roman match, like that's huge. I mean, Cody's literally been on cloud 9. Like, he's faced a lot of really good talent. He's been there. So I just like him as a chaser. But again, going back to Cena, I think he should win. I think he wins the 17th. And I think he's gonna be a heel, but I think you kind of give him his flowers that night and been like, Cena, thank you for everything you've done. You were what you really did for us. Because I know everybody wants to say he was a creation of Vince McMahon. I don't believe it. I think Cena really took off and ran with it, and I don't think anybody expected Cena to be this big, if I can be completely honest. I don't think they even thought Cena was going to be like granting all these wishes. By the way, damn, I had one where I said, I think if Cena on the mic should have said, the last Make-A-Wish I granted was last year when I gave you the WWE Championship from Roman Reigns. I thought that would have been such a great line for Cena. Like the last Make-A-Wish I made as a follower of these guys is that. And I thought that would have been a great one. Because I mean, obviously everybody always talks about Cena making Make-A-Wish and all that. I just thought it would have been a great line for him to use on the mic. But yeah, I agree with you. Cena 17th and like Cody Chase again. It's been a year. Let him chase.
Bring it back.
So,
Let's do it.
Yeah. Man. Real quick, pressure level for Triple H. This is his first WrestleMania, by the way. I know last year he still had the Vince McMahon blueprint. This is really his first WWE WrestleMania. What's the pressure level for him to deliver?
Man, I think there's a decent amount of pressure. I mean, you were there at that Raw on Netflix debut, right? Where he kind of talked about it and kind of addressed it in the press conference. I guess if we're rating,
I think that's when they thought that you were going to ask the final question, and then
I did. I was like,
I asked it.
Yeah, it was you,
and I was like, what did you think for you, was this the vision that you envisioned, like, hey, this is what I want Raw on Netflix to be? And was there any pressure? And then he's like, he kind of sat there and he's like, and then he said what you're about to say.
Yeah. So in terms of, I feel like it's at a 7, or like you said an 8. I mean, there's definitely some pressure to deliver on this card that he's presented, right? Which is, to your point, all his. I also think I think there's always more pressure when it's a WrestleMania that's in an increment of 5. As stupid as that sounds, as mathy and as advanced stats and nerdy as that sounds,
analytics guy.
I know it's that NBA advanced stats guy in me. But
look at this guy.
What
are you doing with it, by the way? I'm kidding.
It's literally making points on podcasts. But but with it being like a 40, I feel like if he delivers a good show, it's going to be looked at collectively as a great show. Right? I feel like the bar is just a little bit lower for him for this one because of what they delivered at 40. And whether we look at that as a full Triple H WrestleMania or a partial Vince one, I'm sure we could debate, but I think that there's going to be some leeway in terms of how we grade this WrestleMania at the end of the day, right? There's going to be pockets of the internet that hate it. There's been pockets of the internet that love it more than they should. But I think when the dust settles, again, if we're looking at any portion of this card, these 2 nights in any light, like we look at WrestleMania 31, that's a huge win for Triple H.
Yeah.
Huge win, because 31 was kind of similar vibes, right? Where you're like,
the heist of the century.
The builds have been okay, but then you get the heist of the century. At the end of the night, again, I remember watching that main event in my living room in Fremont, just kind of losing my goddamn mind. So it's anything.
And then you have JBL. This is brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Just overselling the shit out of it. But again, and Seth thanking Roman into the live mic, which is fucking hilarious. So I would say a 7, because I think that even if it's not the card that it's not as great as we think it's going to be, there's still some leeway from last year.
Agreed. Yeah, I completely agree with it. See, that's why we get along so well, because we agree on a lot of the
same wrestling rationale.
I just hope I didn't throw you off for a loop for that, the whole Seth Rollins, The Rock.
Oh, no.
I'm like,
that makes that's completely plausible, and I think that's what makes this whole Triple H era I think a little bit exciting is just that, again, in the Vince era, they probably would have been like, nah, either they would have been on one side of the coin or the other, been like a firm no or a firm like, yes, we're going to do some 2-man power trip shit and just all of a sudden throw Seth into the Cena Rock thing. But now in this Triple H thing, he's I gotta give, whether you love or hate this dude, he does a great job of kind of keeping you in the middle.
Yep.
And then, still finding a way to surprise you. It's very interesting, his storytelling methods.
Completely agree. BJ, thank you so much for jumping on, man. I honestly, I'm telling you, I told Gilbert, I told everybody, I'm going to have him on for like 30 to 40. I can't believe we did this long, but that's just the chemistry that we have. This was awesome. You are a true professional, even with your MBA and what? What'd you get it in?
Oh no, the NBA. Oh, you're giving me a lot of credit with my education. I said the NBA.
Oh, NBA.
So basketball.
I thought you said I got my MBA. I was like, damn.
No. I didn't shell out for the Masters.
Oh, I was stupid.
I was watching the Masters over the weekend. Those are my That's my Masters when I watch golf. You know what I mean?
I was stupid enough and I went for it, and I met a lot of great people, but the debt is crazy. So
no, it's one letter apart. I'll take it. If you think I have an MBA, you should tell my dad and my mom. You know what I mean? They'd be super proud.
Hey, I'm proud of you. You're my guy. You're my guy. BJ, thank you so much. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find all your guys' amazing work so that they can check it out, since you guys will be there in Las Vegas this weekend for Mania.
Yeah, man. Ringer Wrestling Show is where you need to be at. We're flying in tomorrow. If you're listening to this tonight, it's Tuesday. We're flying in on Wednesday. We're doing all our interviews on Wednesday and spreading them throughout the week.
Do you have people that you can mention who you're gonna have, or?
It's fine. I can say that one person that we did talk about, Jey Uso, will be on the show.
Ooh.
He's one of the guys.
Oh, that's why you're gonna be eating.
Yeah. Jay's good people, man. He's also a Niners fan, which I just want to give that dude a hug. Bailey's also a huge Niners fan.
Do you think Jimmy shows up this week? I think Jimmy's gonna have some.
Yeah, he'll emerge. Yeah, that's gonna be a big title celebration,
dude. Man. I think Jimmy's gonna try and help him, and I think it's gonna be a huge pop.
It's gonna be incredible.
I love what they tag teamed in. What was it? London? No, Brussels. They tag teamed somewhere, and it was amazing.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, it was amazing.
I can't wait, Jay. I can't wait to listen to you guys with Jay.
It's gonna be fun.
There's a lot of Niner fans in the NFL, by the way.
In WWE, yeah. So they're three. Just name three: the Usos, Bailey, Dominik Mysterio. So Roman, you're right. Dominik Mysterio, a Niners fan, because I don't want to bring up a sore subject. He said once the Chargers left, he found another team. There's a video of me. He said this to us on stage.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I shook his hand.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was one of the highlights of my weekend. But
I remember that.
We got a lot of stuff cooking over there. But follow us at Ringer Wrestling, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Our guy Brian Hollywood Waters does an incredible job over there, just kind of curating all those feeds. And check us out, man. But dude, Fernando, you're my guy. You know that we're gonna break kayfabe a little bit. We're friends off air. You know what I mean? This isn't just a podcast friendship. We've shout out to MJ Acosta, who hooked us up many years ago, just connected us. And we've been friends ever since. So it's always a pleasure to come on. This is one of the things I look to during the year to look forward to during Mania. Is just I'm coming on. You know what I mean? So shout out to you. Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
You're my guy. I love you. You're the best. I can't wait till maybe in November we'll see each other in San Diego. Maybe we do.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe you know what? Maybe we can set up somewhere near the beach or something. We do a preview of.
Ooh, yes, little war games on the beach.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, we do something, or maybe I don't know. Maybe Petco parking is going to be used around that time. Maybe we can do something in near there. I'll ask around.
You name the place. I'm on.
Oh, dude.
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, it'll be.
You don't have to pull my arm to get me to San Diego. I love. San
By
Diego.
the way, I'm going to be near you in February.
For Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. So we're gonna
ready to roll. I'll see you out here for sure.
We're gonna get together. You're probably gonna get credentialed to go anyway, so I can't wait.
Hopefully, yeah.
No,
we'll get it done.
You're gonna be there.
We'll get it done.
But BJ, thank you so much. You are the man. Love you. Have a good time at WrestleMania. What's your favorite ride at Disneyland, by the way?
Favorite ride at Disneyland is Space Mountain.
Oh,
hands down.
I love when they go May 4th and they go like it's like Star Wars edition.
Star Wars Celebration.
I love it. It's awesome.
It's happening right now, actually. I was just there last week with my family. I haven't been since
before COVID.
Oh, I
need to go.
Dude.
I know.
I'm telling you, you should go.
The churro. I have a shirt that says I just came here for the churro.
So, they're still good. Spoiler alert.
I know.
Still very
I can't
good.
wait. Amazing. BJ, thank you so much. You're the best.
You're the man. I love you, brother.
Don't forget, everybody, check out the rest of the stuff on the page. Thursday, I will be talking to Ryan Garcia at his workout in San Diego. So make sure you guys tune into that. And then Saturday, Sunday, as soon as the shows are over for WrestleMania, we will be jumping on live and talking about all that stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. Thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your evening and get ready for WrestleMania weekend.